I am Jim Collison. This is Gallup's Call to Coach, recorded on March 12th, 2024. Call to Coach is a resource for those who want to help others discover and use their strengths. We have Gallup experts and independent strengths coaches share tactics, insights, and strategies to help coaches maximize the talent of individuals, teams, and organizations around the world. If you're listening live, we'd love to have you join us in chat. We'll take your questions there. If you're listening after the fact, you can always send us your questions. Email us, coaching@gallup.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or right there on YouTube so you never miss an episode. Klare Chapman is my guest today. Klare is Gallup's Global Commerce Director, and her top 5 are learner, analytical, responsibility, achiever, and input. Klare, it's a great day when I get to be with you. Welcome to Call to Coach.
Thanks, Jim. I really appreciate it. Couldn't be more excited to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Let's get to know you a little bit, just so folks know the context. We're spending some time launching this new CliftonStrengths Learning Journal, but let's find out about you first. Tell us a little bit about what we pay you to do at Gallup and those kinds of things about your job.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you've ever bought anything from the Gallup store, that is me and my team. We have a global storefront. We transact in 27 different currencies around the world in 4 different languages. We sell Clifton Strengths codes, as you know, learning resources, books, courses, everything in the Gallup world. So I've been at Gallup over a decade now. And I don't think I've ever had a job I love as much as the one I'm doing today. I've done a lot of different things at Gallup over the years, gotten to know a lot of people. And my favorite week of the year at Gallup is always Summit Week. That's when I get to see a lot of you. And it just really brings everything we do to life. So thanks for having me, Jim.
What's the challenge? This isn't in our notes, but how challenging it to run a global e-commerce store?
Wow. Yeah. We have over 600,000 transactions a year. So just making sure everything is running very smoothly and you can purchase things when you want to purchase them, and hopefully not have issues. It for responsibility in your top 5, it can give a person a lot of anxiety, quite frankly. But I have a great team behind me, and we have a lot of monitoring we do at Gallup too. If we ever have Amazon Web Services goes down or anything like that, our team sometimes knows before Amazon does. So amazing team here. And love your feedback too on things we can do to improve.
Yeah, it's an amazing challenge. This is I get this feedback through the community. Shipping is always an issue. Global shipping is particularly hard.
Yes.
Housing physical product in different countries around the world to get it where it needs to be, not as easy as everyone thinks. It's a challenge to keep a global store, especially at the volumes. Sometimes the volumes are very, very high and we don't have enough. Sometimes they're very, very low. So it's always a challenge.
Yes. And I'm the same way too. We all view how we buy things on Amazon is kind of like, well, that's how everyone should be able to do it, right? Whether you're a small business selling or not, but that's what we expect for shipping times and ease of purchasing. So we're always trying to elevate our experience too.
Yeah. Well, today we're here to talk about the new CliftonStrengths Learning Journal, and you and I have been spending a little time talking about this. Give us a little background. Why did we create this? What was the feedback that we got that helped us create this?
Well, I know we have a lot of coaches on today, and as you know, we have a lot of resources and materials for our coaching community. We have a lot of those same resources and tools for managers out there, whether they're doing strengths or engagement or all those things, even things for our students, right? But we don't have a lot that has been developed just for that individual who's maybe discovering their strengths for the first time. We know that taking your strengths isn't the magic. It's when you actually do something with your strengths, you reflect on them, you hopefully have a coaching call with someone and go deeper. And so knowing that we didn't have a lot for that individual's strengths journey, we said, hey, how could we package up some of the best insightful questions that our coaches ask, that maybe some of you ask, and put that more in a journal format so that people can kind of explore their strengths on their own time, all those things, and go deeper there. We also know that sometimes individuals, they come They purchase their strengths, they take Clifton Strengths, and we never see them again. So being able to meet people where they're at, how can we help them on their journey for an affordable price? That's kind of the impetus of why we created this journal.
We're going to talk about what it is here in a little bit. We'll show some pictures of it for those who are joining us live or watching the podcast. Who's the journal meant for?
So like I mentioned, we're personally targeting those individual buyers, and we can tell when someone comes to our website on the store, are they a first-time buyer or have they visited before? So we're really going to try to target those first-time buyers. I would also say, though, this journal is very useful if you're somebody who maybe you took strengths a while ago, and whether that be in school or for activity at work or whatever, and you haven't really revisited them, you haven't reflected on that. Maybe you've had a big life event too that's really changed your outlook on things. Going through the digital strengths journal is just a time to reflect on your strengths and you as a person, how you bring those to life. So it's also meant for people that want to go a little bit deeper too, and maybe want to revisit their strengths.
Talk a little bit about the price point, and then talk some about the format that it's in and physically how folks get it.
So the price point on this in United States dollar is $9.99. I know this is like, wow, this is a pretty low price, Gallup. Like we said, we're mainly doing this to help bring strengths to life for people and help them go deeper, not necessarily as, the next huge moneymaker at Gallup by any means. So I think it's a very affordable price. Part of what plays into that is me personally, I wanted us to create something that was easily accessible. I could use this anywhere I wanted to. I could print off a version or use a fillable PDF if I want to, versus having it, as you're aware, on our learning management system under learning resources. We have our kits and other resource guides are in there. Those are not something that you can download or there's downloadable resources, but you really do have to use those materials on the Gallup system, internet connection, all those things. So with this, making it easier to download and use as you like with a lower price point, this is a copyrighted material from Gallup. And so each person does need to purchase their own copy, respect the copyright, but that's also part of the $10 price point is, we're not talking $100 here. This is very easy to use in a team session if you wanted to, or things like that.
Right now, like you mentioned, it's a downloadable. It's not intended to be purchased one time and used many times. It's intended for each individual to have their own copy of it as well. As you think about this audience, it's going to be loaded with a lot of our certified coaches. How do you think? What are some ideas that you might have on how a coach might use this with those that they're coaching?
Yeah, great question. So, as we were building this resource, I did seek some of our trusted coaches, their feedback, and just ask their opinions. Like, is this relevant to you? We're targeting individuals for this, but would you use it as a coach? And our coaches did say, like, hey, actually, yeah, I would love the price point you're thinking about. Love the ease of a downloadable, fillable PDF, and using it as even pre-work before you're going to do that first coaching session with somebody. It's just great reflection to get this person thinking about their strengths, reviewing their strengths report, or even using it as homework afterwards, depending on what your individual coaching looks like, or if you're doing a team session with a group. So really, it's just to complement what you're already doing. And I think, you'll see in some of the questions, like they're great questions, right? But we know your ability as a coach to ask great questions, like that's definitely a talent, but that feedback and the insights that you offer to somebody when you're coaching them, that's the magic. Okay. So we, no intentions here of replacing coaches or anything like that. It's really just another tool that you have to use as you see fit.
I do get from time to time, I do get some feedback. Hey, do you have something like this already made? And so many coaches, you've already got a version of something that you use, continue to use that version. We're not This isn't intended to necessarily come along and replace it. But for those who have been asking, maybe they want an easy resource to have available that they can just give out, have someone purchase and bring that in. Best if the individual purchases this, so it lands in their learning center. But Lisa asked this great question along those lines. Klare, she says, "Are you focusing on first-time buyers who are using codes that are part of a coaching bundle, just so you know to give them a heads up, or people who are coming in cold and buying a code?" Talk a little
Yeah,
bit about that.
good question, Lisa. We're really targeting those one-time buyers that literally, a friend said, "Hey, go try this, Clifton Strengths," or they read an article about it or something like that. Really, those people that are honestly, like you said, coming in cold. Or most folks come to our marketing site, they learn more about Clifton Strengths, and then once they come to the store, they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to get the all 34." So we're going to play around with some experimentation there. You've probably heard of A/B tests in e-commerce, but we have the ability to try a group and we say, "Hey, here's a modal where we tell them about the Clifton Strengths Journal right before they're getting ready to purchase," and then a group that we don't, and we kind of see which one does better. So we'll try some different things with placement and stuff like that. Touching on the Jim, just the distribution method for this too, when we're talking about coaches, you can purchase these in, let's say you buy 10 of them and you have the ability, we'll show screenshots here in a little bit, but you can distribute these just like you would Clifton Strengths codes. They're contained inside of that code concept. That's how Gallup Access works for when we sell Clifton Strengths codes, the various report types. When we sell a course, you actually get a code on your code management dashboard that you can redeem for yourself. Or I could say, "Hey, Jim, I want you to go to Successful Strengths Coaching," and he gets himself registered for that class.
Mm-hmm.
This resource works the same way. So you'll see it on your code management dashboard. If you buy 10 at a time, you see a bundle, and then you can distribute those to whoever you need to. So you do have the ability as a coach to, when you're sending someone, let's say an all 34, you can also send this along with it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's not what I said, but I'll correct myself on that. And then up in the a lot of folks get this confused. The redeem button in Gallup Access, best if they sign in first, then go up to the upper left-hand corner and choose redeem. It'll take you to a page, just paste that code in, and they're off to the races.
Yes.
You mentioned it's PDF format. It's writable and printable. You've done some formatting on it to make it do some magic. What languages are we talking now? And is there any future thought on that as well?
Yeah, good question. So this is kind of what we call a minimal viable product, in the fact that it's a bit of an experiment, right? Like we said, we don't typically create resources just for individuals. It's a lower price point than normal. I would love, with my futuristic in my top 10, I would love that this sells like crazy in English. We only have an English version today, but it does great. Proof of concepts there. And then we can go ahead and translate that into our key languages after that. There's not this is not a 500,000 word document here that needs translation. So if we translated, it could be pretty quick. We just want to make sure that it's relevant and people find value in it, and then we would translate it for our other languages.
And some of it'll just depend on how fast it catches on, if it does, right?
Exactly. Yep. And Jim will share a link that will take you to the product page on the store, but it is available in all of our English storefronts. But we can, let's say you are in Japan and we don't show it to you on that store because it's English only, but you would wish to buy it. We can also send you the link for that, and you would still be able to purchase it. Yeah.
Great. You've got some screenshots, I think, that you want to share. And I'll take some questions from the chat room while you're doing that. So, can you walk us through, and maybe I didn't see the screenshots in advance, Klare. Tell us where you want to take us on this journey.
Yeah, so I'll pop this up. And first, I wanted to just show kind of that code management piece that we're talking about. I had some initial folks that said like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be like a code that I had to redeem. We do that so that you can distribute it to someone else. We don't assume just the person buying it, they're just using it for themselves. So we'll show you that. And then I did want to show you a couple just preview pages so you kind of knew what was inside of the journal before you purchase it. So
share that with me and I'll throw it on the screen for us. Catherine is asking while you're doing that, Catherine's asking, we'll be able to use your discount code on this. Guessing not with the current price point, but still thought you'd ask. Oh, it's good to ask. But yes, you are correct that no, not at this time. Okay. Screen is up.
Okay, so you can see that okay, Jim?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the Gallup store right here. This is the product page for the journal. And it does have some screenshots in here. You can see what you get with this. Just to reiterate, it does come in a 8.5 by 11 size, either fillable PDF or printable. It does have an offset. So if you're somebody that likes to put it in a 3-ring binder or anything like that, you can certainly do that. And then we do have an international size of A4. So I find that nice for international friends. So, okay, so that's what that looks like. It's actually contained under the learning tools and materials section of the Gallup store. If you click on that right here, you should be able to find it at the very top.
I always just search journal and it'll take me right to it.
Perfect. Okay, so let's say you get this purchased. You're excited. You're ready to go check it out. So you will come over to Gallup Access from your thank you page, and you will go to code management right here at the bottom. And you should see this show up on your codes page right here. It's called the CliftonStrengths Journal, and it'll show up with however many you purchase. Okay, next, when you click into that, you'll see your ability here to distribute those codes, and you're off to the races after that. This is contained, one final view. Our team has classified this under what's called digital kits is the category, and then you'll see that CliftonStrengths Journal. Okay, so once you do that, it is actually going to live in your learning center over here. So if you have any other digital resources with us, whether it's kits or team activities guide, any of those things, they all live over here in the learning center. And then this is the thumbnail that you will see, the CliftonStrengths Journal. You'll click on that, and then it'll give you the options to download in the various formats. I always tell people, go ahead and download this, save those files, save those to your computer, and then essentially you don't have to revisit the Learning Center for this product. Okay, so here's just some little preview shots. We did put some resources in the beginning of this, so you'll see some here that you'll recognize. But on this, we have people list their top 5 first. This journal is made for people if you purchase the top 5 report, works just fine. If you purchase the All-34, it works just fine. So either one. And then with those first-time strengths user, kind of their viewpoint in mind, we did try to give folks examples, right? So they may not know yet what discipline sounds like or competition strength or things like that. So helping them get oriented to strengths language, I feel like is part of the strengths journey. Okay, so they fill in their top 5. And then this is what I was talking about, the resource guide here off to the left. That gives them the full list of CliftonStrengths and also those short theme statements, and then the different categories we have here, the 4 domains. So here's a good example on the right of what you'll see for the types of questions that we're asking along the way. It does build upon itself, asking first how they, feel about their strengths, what were some aha moments reading through the statements, kind of some of the typical initial questions that we see around strengths. We've also mixed in some quotes here at the bottom and we've embraced our more playful branding side. If you've been to our Gallup at Work Summit before, that's kind of more of our playful, colorful side that's fun to bring out. So you'll see that throughout the journal as well. And then this is just kind of my last thing here, just showing you a few more examples of the questions. There is probably about 12 to 14 pages that have various formats like this for journaling and just reflecting on some of these questions. We know when we've written strengths content around goals and goal setting, we put that out many times at the beginning of the year when we're all setting those goals. I have been walking on the treadmill like I committed to, just saying. So we know goals and strengths go very well together. And if you use your strengths to accomplish your goals, you end up being much more successful. So we've weaved some of the goals in here too along the way, which probably are my favorite parts of the journal. Okay, and that is it for the screenshots.
When you think about just the highlights of some of the other topics, because there's 20 more pages there, what would be one or two other topics or one or two other things you would want to highlight that would be in the journal?
Yeah, good question. I think, when we think about our strengths, it's not just how we personally feel about our strengths and how it helps us get work done, but it's also how do you come across to other people? How do you build teams and relationships and things like that? So after we kind of take you through some of those individual questions, we ask you to reflect on, now that you know your strengths, what do you think your friends would say about this? Or have you had a strengths conversation with a friend, manager, things like that? And so just trying to weave that into other parts of your life too. I think we all know strengths are fairly universal, right? They apply in our personal lives just as much as work and maybe your spiritual or community life as well. So helping again, first time strength user realize like the whole scope of what that means of how you show up every day at home in your family relationships, but at work too.
Klare, anything else that we forgot to cover? Anything? I'll take a few questions from chat room if you can get them in here in the next minute or two. But any other final thoughts on this as we wrap our time together today?
No, I think we covered it, Jim. I love feedback, right? That can be, open the floodgates and things like that. But as we think of other versions of this, or again, the translations, if there's things we need to tweak a little bit, especially our coaching community, they're just always so gracious at helping us just do the best we can. So I always welcome feedback.
Yeah,
so
we already found an error in it that we fixed. So
yep.
So appreciate that. Always appreciate that feedback. And Bria had asked if does it look like the new top? It does look like the new top 5 report. Is it focused on top 5, or are there content around the full 34? We saw the top 5 content, but certainly the 34 context would work, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And good point, Bree. One of our overall company projects over the last few years is taking this large funnel of Gallup content, especially around strengths, and getting everything in a consistent brand, right? So that's what you see now with the top 5 report. And then very much the case with the CliftonStrengths Journal. But again, very agnostic to the report type that somebody would be using. You could even use role reports with this, the manager, sales, student, all those things. And I think the reflection questions would work the same way no matter which report type you're using.
All right. Well, with that, I think I don't see. Oh, Larry asked a question. He said, "Love the concept. Will Gallup use any of this data for science going forward, or would it only be accessible to the coach?" We're not collecting that. These forms are separate from us once they make the purchase. This is not being stored online, correct? Like,
yep.
They're filling in the form. One, it's local to them. Which is nice from a data privacy standpoint. We don't have access to any of the data that is there, and they can take it with them. And Klare, like you said, I think a good practice is download it, put it locally somewhere, or save it on a cloud drive where you can get to it easily. Yep. And then it'll save for you, and you can come back to it. Those you're coaching can come back to it for future use. Well, Klare, thanks for coming on here. Excited about this opportunity. Lisa reminds us it is an MVP at this point. Definitely open to improvements, and we'd always appreciate your feedback. If you see things, if you've got ideas, we're always listening to those as well, and appreciate any feedback that you send in. Klare, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Thanks, everybody.
With that, we'll remind everyone to take full advantage of all the resources that are available to you inside Gallup Access. If you haven't been out there in a while, my.gallup.com. If you want to log in there, get access to the things, your kits. If you're a certified coach, if you are looking to become a coach, need master coaching, or want to become a Gallup certified strengths coach, we do that as well. You can send us an email, coaching@gallup.com. Don't forget to join us for the 2024 Gallup at Work Summit. We're doing that. It's coming up fast. Although if this is after June of 2024, I bet we have another one planned. So come out and join us, gallupatwork.com. We'd all love to see as many of you in person. I'll be helping host the virtual sessions, though, as well. And if you can only make it virtually, that'd be great to have you either way. Stay up to date with all our future webcasts. I'm losing my voice here very quickly. I do not know why. I don't know why it's going away. By joining us in our Facebook or LinkedIn, maybe I've been doing a lot of talking this morning, Facebook or LinkedIn groups, or search Clifton Strengths on any social platform and find us there. I want to thanks for coming out today. No post show because the voice is going out. With that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.